The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Welcome to Gate City Chronicles. I'm Kevin Avard, your host. And today I have as my guest County Attorney Dennis Hogan. Welcome to the show, Dennis.
Thank you.
We appreciate you coming on the show.
Well, you're welcome.
And a topic which seems to be on everybody's mind lately is, we're having a situation with drugs in our state.
Right.
And opiates people are really struggling with this. And it seems nobody has a major solution yet,
Right.
Or attacking it. We've had issues where the czar's not existent, even though we have a czar, a drug czar. And a topic that viewers might not really know about is that there is a drug court as well.
Right.
And you said this has been established in the 80s at some time?
Well, it's a federal program.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the money that's paying for the drug court that's in Nashua is federal money. And so in looking at the whole thing, I researched where it's coming from and kind of stumbled across the fact that it was started decades ago.
Mm-hmm.
And so the federal government, of course, gives out grants for localities to give it a try. I think in the hope that the locality will continue to do it even after the grant's gone.
Now, what are the drug courts? What are they for? Are they specifically to prosecute or help people through the system?
Well, okay, so it's a very limited amount, a limited type of person that is sent to the drug court. And it's surprising that they want to take the most seriously addicted person and put them through the process of what they call drug court. Mm-hmm. So what happens is when we as prosecutors have that person on a felony charge that will, because they have so many felony charges before, we're ready to send them to prison. We'll take that person and we'll say, okay, instead of sending you to prison, you're going to go to drug court instead. So what they do is they show up every week. In Nashua, it's on Mondays. And before they show up, there's a team of people. And the team consists of a judge, a caseworker, defense counsel, prosecutor. I'm probably forgetting somebody. And that team discusses the people that are going to show up in the afternoon. How's this person doing? What did we see from them last week? And okay, what are we going to expect from them? And so they come each week. They have to do a drug test. So they're given a urine sample, which is being tested. And so the judge knows, and that when they come through, and the judge is on the bench, like they normally would be. The other parts of the team are on the seats that are usually occupied by the jury. And then the participants come in and sit, where viewers usually sit in a courtroom. They come up one by one and speak to the judge. How's it going? It's basically the question the judge is asking. They're expected to admit readily if they've slipped. And the judge is going to work with them to use carrots and sticks. The carrots being, great. You don't have to come. You can be the last one like next year, or you can be the first one. I mean, not next year, next session. First one, leave early, or you don't have to, things like that. Mm-hmm. Even giving them candy, even giving them gift certificates to places like restaurants in town. By the way, if anybody wants to help out, they can send the drug court a gift certificate.
What ages are we looking at, though?
Any age.
Really?
Oh, absolutely any age. There's nothing that distinguishes the age. It could be somebody very young or very old. Of course, somebody who's under 17 isn't going to be in drug court. They're going to be in juvenile court anyway. But.
So if somebody comes up to the judge, they're waiting their turn, and Your Honor, I shot up this week. I thought I had a handle on it, and then the next week again, Judge, you know what? I did it again, and then the next week, Your Honor, I did it again. I really got a problem. I need help.
Well, so they're going to discuss what kind of help. They're not just left, because I didn't explain, they're not just left on their own to keep coming back and explain how they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
There's one of the people that's part of the team is a caseworker that's going to get them set up with,
Yeah.
I almost said hooked up, set up with treatment.
Right.
So that they're going to this treatment, and they're going to AA or NA, so that they can go through that process. And,
Mm-hmm.
all the things that they need to do to get off the drugs. It's different from putting them in prison and having them go through the drug treatment there, in that this puts them in the community. And the hope is, and what they're finding and calling it success, is that that's helpful. So you have to go through the process of getting a job, hanging out with the right people, getting the right place to live, reconnecting with your family if they're sober.
And
these are all things that you're not going to have happen to you when you're in prison.
Correct.
So prison might be the right place to go, because those things aren't working, and at least there's a place there, they're going to lock you down and keep you off drugs. But maybe we can try this community-based one first and have better progress. And that's the hope. And because they work through that process, doing all those things, slipping up a little maybe, yeah, but as long as they make progress, as long as the judge sees progress, and right now actually there's a prosecutor in my office who's like, some of these people should be thrown off the program, because being thrown off the program means now you go to prison. We've given you enough chances, off the program. So what I understand, that conflict is going to start to get resolved, because once the program court, the drug court, can only take 40 people. So 40 is the max, and in the experience I understand from Stratford, for example, who's been doing it a long time, once they get to that max amount, then you've got to start using the stick more, because
Right.
you got to clear out people either through graduation, succeed, or you're not making it, put you in jail. Let's let somebody else come in and give them a try. So
What
more
is
people
this-
will get through.
What is the success rate?
The success rate is in the 60% range.
Oh, that's really good.
Yeah, it's pretty good for people who are that hardcore.
Right. Well, we heard some statistics. We went to Teen Challenge, Senator Woodburn and a few other senators. We went to Teen Challenge in Manchester.
Yeah.
And they were boasting about a 70% of those that actually completed the program.
Yeah.
Basically, if you walk out of the program,
Now, just let me qualify having given you that number. That's a number from other places.
okay.
That's not a number from Nashua.
All right.
And what we're doing.
Well, we heard that from
Nashua has got 30 people right now.
Mhm.
The goal is to have 40. They've graduated 2, and they've thrown out 1.
Okay.
Maybe a second one's on their way out.
And
So
how new is it
we're
in
very
Nashua?
new. We didn't start. Let's see. They first started talking about it in the end of my first term, which was 2012, and then I believe they began it last year.
And
2000.
now these caseworkers, they'll
14.
they follow you around. You report to them on a daily, like a.
Well, and the caseworkers, in the sense that they tell you, here's where you can go. They help you out. I mean,
Yep.
if you're, imagine these people,
strung out.
everything's gone,
Yeah.
right? I mean, all these things that we take for granted that we know. For example, let's get insurance. They have no concept of where they get. So that's the kind of thing you have to. How are we going to pay for this? They work you through that.
Right.
Where are you going to go? Go here. Where can I live? That's not a known drug place. That's the stuff that a caseworker needs to do.
And that is a lot cheaper than putting somebody in full-time.
Wow,
prison.
that's a good question, because that's something I looked into really close. Okay, so it's not cheaper if you only calculate how much are we spending on these people in the drug court, and you're calculating everybody who's in it as part of the cost, and just putting them in a facility where they're just held.
Right.
It's actually cheaper to just throw them in the facility where they're held. However,
When they get out,
yes, okay, then they get out and they're not cured, because all we did was hold them there, and then they commit some more, felonies. And if you calculate what it costs to society to have these people continue to, and that's a fudgy thing, right? And that's kind of, well, where did they get that number? They put the number, because I read the study that everybody likes to quote about saying, this works, it's cheaper. I'm like, oh, okay, let's have a read of that. And they put the number $10,000 of savings. They kind of just picked that out of
right?
the air, as far
But
as
you
I
are-
can tell from the study.
You are investing in a human life.
But
though.
it might be more than that,
Yeah.
right? I mean, what's it? I mean, so how do you calculate what it's worth to you not to have been robbed?
Yeah.
What's it worth to society not to know that, to not have the fact of your neighbor's house being rummaged through because somebody was looking for copper, to sell and then get drugs for?
Right.
I don't know.
How many victims
I mean,
along
so
the way?
that's why it is. I suppose it's correctly in the political realm because you can't put a real number on it. Nobody's going to line up to make a profit on all this stuff we're talking about. It's just a matter of, look, is this, as leaders, do we think this is better or worse? We're going to spend this amount of money. These people are going to get cured. They probably, we don't know that they were going to commit crimes, but they probably were going to commit crimes. So, when you take the 40 people that you're working on, it's good for them. You have to think about whether or not it's worth the money. It has to be worth the money. It's not a matter of we saved you money, really, in the straight sense. It's really, is it worth it from society? It's the kind of questions
Right.
only government can answer. Only government people can answer. Is it worthwhile?
Is there matching state funds at all to go with it, or is it
Not at this point, no.
Right.
No, but the reason I'm so concerned about studying it and looking into it and being able to explain it so as clearly as possible is at some point the federal government's going to say, well, now you've seen it work, make your decision, government. And the county commissioners, Sandra Ziem for us in Nashua, have asked us in the county to look into it. And how can we, how can we maybe do it in Manchester? How can we expand it? And I assume the question also is, what are we going to do when the money's gone? Do we want to continue it? And how can we do it? So I'm starting to talk really fast.
No, that's fine. No, when I went to Teen Challenge, they were talking about ART money, and I've never heard that term before, and that there was money set aside for that. And of course, I don't know if that's part of the drug court or not. I didn't get that answer from them, but they are a facility where somebody 3 times strike, 4 times
No, there's many different drug things going on.
Right.
Nashua and Manchester both asked for. When I say Nashua and Manchester, I mean the Superior Court in Nashua, Superior Court in Manchester. I start to get lingo, right? Just Nashua, Manchester, but just so your listeners know what I'm talking about. Both those courts asked for a drug court grant. Manchester didn't get one, but Manchester did get what they call New Hope. And maybe it's just a total coincidence, but I kind of think that maybe somebody was looking at this and said, well, this is the same jurisdiction. Why don't we give one of them drug court and one of them New Hope, and the political people in that area can decide which one's valuable. Or maybe both are valuable. So New Hope is the other end of the spectrum with drugs. You just, for the first time, have started to do drugs.
Oh.
You're just first time getting in trouble. Let's grab you and say, look, you're on the wrong path. You ought to be an easy person to put back on the right path. So that's what Manchester's working on right now. And hearing from the prosecutors, I hear some grumblings. Neither one of them work perfectly, but we'll see overall how they do.
So far the prosecutors seem like the bad guys in this, in that they
want things to work. They're not bad. They're not bad guys at all.
I'm just.
But they do get frustrated.
Yeah.
Not surprisingly, because obviously they're folks that in my
see,
hiring process, they're the
carnage.
highest level
Right.
of intelligence and work ethic and all that stuff. And so the people that come to them who are doing drugs, of course, are disasters. And but boy, they laugh and smile when they hear about this person they thought was just the in the worst shape, and that person gets to the point of working a job and staying clean and coming in and saying, yeah, this is what I'm doing, and they laugh and they say, that's great. Isn't it great that this person we thought was one of the worst is doing great? So no, they're not bad at all.
Well, no.
If you're on the other end of them, of course they feel tough. Yeah.
They obviously somebody's got to be the bad cop, good cop, if you will, and they got to hold the stick. But
that's true, right? Because I was talking carrot and stick, and yes, the prosecutors do sort of have to be in the position of the stick, and the one who cries out for the stick to be wielded when that person is not staying on the path. So yeah.
Is there one judge, 2 judges? Or,
one judge. Judge Colburn is doing it in Nashua.
And she's is she right?
Yes.
Yeah. And she's been doing this for a while now.
Well, she's been pushing for it since 2012. So she's been working on it a long time.
Talking to Sandra, she says she makes people tote the line. She doesn't put up with any guff or anything like that. She's
during
really,
the process.
Yeah, she's a straight and narrow.
I mean, any judge should come across that way.
Yeah.
because they want to tell them, here's where you got to be. And
Now, you say there's 30 now and potentially 40, possibly people that can be helped.
we should.
Are
get
there
that.
any clear numbers as to how many people we're actually looking at that need this in Nashua alone?
I don't know about clear numbers of people that need it, but a maybe tip of the iceberg number is that 300 people
In Nashua?
died in New Hampshire from a drug overdose in 2014. Manchester was about 105. Not Manchester. Hillsborough was about 105 of those. So that gives you an idea of. I mean, not everybody who does heroin or fentanyl or any of the other extremely dangerous drugs dies, right? So it gives you some perspective. But more shocking is back in the 80s, it was more in the, that 300 number was more like 50.
And you would think we've
much more than the population, we've expanded the amount of people who are dying from the drugs. And throw this fact in to show you really how big the problem is. We now have something called Narcan, which will save a person.
Yeah, we voted for that recently.
Well, so if that Narcan didn't exist, that number 300 would have been much larger. So we've gone to 50 to this number that's huge.
We heard a
have
lot
got
of testimony on that with the Narcan. And, it's just it's something you can put in the nose, or I don't know if you can inject it.
I thought it was an injection.
I
haven't seen it done. So.
I haven't either, but it's one of those things that could save a life.
It is. It is saving lives. There's no question about it.
And
but then those people that have to come out from it and say, "Oh, I've just been saved. Now I should change my way." But when they wake up, they're going, "What? Why are you guys bothering me? I was fine. What's all this fuss?"
No, you were dead. Just about dead.
Right. You've got to. It has to be explained to them. And
at that point,
they have to get it somewhere inside them to turn it around because.
When they've been given that drug, at that point, is there is the legal system getting involved? You know what I'm saying? So, mom's got an extra thing. She knows her son or daughter.
You're guilty of possession if law enforcement is called there.
Yeah.
You're guilty of possession.
Okay, and then the process starts. You're put through the system. Who does all the weighing whether you're eligible for it or not? I mean, you got for the drug court. I mean,
okay, so anybody in the system can suggest it. So the defense counsel might suggest it. We might look at it ourselves and say this looks like a person who's would be a good candidate for it. Yeah, anybody.
What's the criteria?
And then they kind of get together and decide.
What's the criteria for that, though?
It's they've done a lot of criminal behavior before. Mm-hmm. It seems to be related to drugs and their drug addiction, and so that before drug court, a person on that path had sort of been the last straw. This was the last straw. Now we're sending him to prison. So if you fit all that criteria, that prior to the drug court, you would have been sent to prison. Now you fit the criteria.
Now, how do you get involved with this at all, or do you? I mean, is it just the prosecutors that are going before a judge, and the defense lawyer says, hey, how does your office get involved, or does it? Does it make suggestions?
Oh no, we are involved. We'll have a case where we just look at it and say, this person looks like everything they've been doing is all about drugs. Let's suggest to the defense counsel that this is.
So you can influence the
and the defense may come to us and say, oh, this person, it's all about drugs. They've been doing it for years. We really think this person should go into the drug court. Mm-hmm. They have to agree, to put them there. So it's coming from both sides. Yeah.
Right. And does the judge have any say whether?
Yeah, I mean the whole team has some say. I can't imagine the judge saying no at this point because we've only got 30 and we need 40 to fill it up. So I don't think the judge has said no to anybody.
Okay.
Once the two attorneys agree. on in most cases it's so rare that if the two sides that are generally in conflict come to an agreement, the judge rarely says no, don't agree.
All right, and if they don't agree, then it's basically
then it would just. It's if we're not agreeing as prosecutors, then it's not going to happen because I can't imagine the defense counsel saying no, we don't think this person needs drug court. Because if they thought we were being bringing
People
somebody
that,
in.
that commit violent crimes, are they eligible for this?
No, they're not. And that's, I mean,
And that's understandable.
yeah, it's just one of those things.
But if you're stealing a
Violent crimes
bike or
usually,
you're breaking into something, and just because you need to get that drug money or
yeah,
something like
but
that.
yeah, like a domestic violence thing, or just out on the street, doing something violent. You're not gonna be in.
And the other system that's in Manchester,
Which brings me to the idea that I was talking to Chris Christie about. He and I don't know New Jersey, but he's the governor, so passing this along. He says that as soon as somebody gets arrested for drugs, they have just a general program. You're going to go to drug rehab. That's it. It doesn't matter whether you were doing it a long time, you're doing it a little bit. We're not going to send you to prison. Obviously, you wouldn't send anybody to prison anyway at that point if it was the first time, bumping up against law enforcement. But they just want to get you right away.
and how's that
that
working?
would, I don't know what that's costing them,
But
but
how's
it
it
really
working?
is. Well, he says it's working good, but I mean he's running for president too, so he's not going to say, "Look at the money I'm wasting."
Well,
But it's certainly interesting to think about it. And when you talk about this patchwork that we have, we get New Hope here and
well, that's what I was going to
drug
ask you.
court here. I mean,
Is New Hope available for Nashua in the future? Is anybody looking at it, or are they exclusive just for Manchester, and Nashua has the drug courts, and that's?
what I understand, I know the drug court is you have to be in Nashua.
Yeah.
I think I'm not. New Hope seems to be a little bit more flexible, but they flexed it beyond its capacity. They found that they shouldn't have been flexible. They tried to bring people in. They wanted to be in drug court. They tried putting them in the New Hope, and then they were like, "No, that's not working out." So they.
How about other counties? How are they doing with dealing
Well,
with this?
Stratford is one of the first ones that brought in drug court, and they love it. They praise it. They think they've done a great job with it.
Do they have a recidivism rate?
Then Rochester did it next, and yeah, I mean that's where I get that 60% number. Like I said, 60% doesn't come from Nashua.
Yeah.
Nothing Nashua hasn't been doing it long enough to say it has any sort of anything to judge it by.
It's funny. People get busy with their lives, and we Tracy and I we love to watch intervention, and we like to see the end.
Yeah.
At the end, they stayed with it, yay, But it's sometimes it starts with something tragic in somebody's life, or a divorce, or somebody got raped as a child, or there could be all kinds of circumstances we've got somebody started on these drugs.
Right.
Something traumatic seems to usually be something that's hidden that eventually comes out in the process of these interventions. And you see the misery how they're living.
Yeah.
And the lengths to what they'll go through just to get that drug. And the amount of people, if they have a support system that gets hurt in the process. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not just this one person hurting themselves.
Right.
They're taking a little teeny community with them.
Right.
And it's very taxing on their whole lives. And so when they go through this intervention, you really hope that they make it. They got to get into that facility to help them at least dry out for 30, 60, 90 days or something like that. It's nice to hear that we're actually attacking it.
Right.
But other than watching that on TV, I don't see it. You know what I'm saying? We're busy. We're doing our things, but then all of a sudden you hear out of the blue, or it seems like out of the blue, wow, we have an epidemic.
Yeah.
What's that? It's
I
the
walk
drug court.
when I'm on the streets. I obviously ride my bike a lot, and I walk. I
Yeah.
have to walk downtown at Manchester, Nashua for the job, and I look at people differently now. I think that, I mean, maybe I'm stereotyping. I know, because I'm looking for signs that this person is, is just drugged out.
Right, the way you're walking.
I don't know whether I'm really seeing them or not, but when you know the numbers, you realize there's got to be people out there that you're just walking by.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Are you one or are you there? Yeah, and that's the thing. But unless you're looking for it, it doesn't seem like it smacks you in the face until
Right.
they're part of the system, or you're a victim of
Right.
that situation.
Right.
And we've got to address it. And just why are people doing this?
I mean, they say some people will talk about marijuana being a gateway drug. Some people will say, that's absurd. And they harken back to how they tried to scare us with that drug. I just don't. I don't think. I mean, I've known too many people who've done pot or do pot regularly, never became heroin addicts, right? But I gotta wonder whether there's anybody who's ever been a heroin addict that didn't do pot to start with. So
Right.
I mean, but I think what it boils down to is you got to get started somewhere, and there's just a lack of respect for the fact that somebody said, look, this is the law. You're not supposed to do this. You know, there's just no
They say that's when
concern.
the drug's taken over their minds.
No, I think the first time you do it,
yeah, it could be.
There just needs to be a, and I don't want people to just respect the authority for the sake of authority. I mean, I love that bumper sticker. This is question authority. But why would people think that the government would make something illegal that, you know, and it's a drug and it's foreign to you? You know,
Maybe-
why is there an attitude that, wow, they don't know what they're talking about?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not just the government either. One of the what's this earliest written story that we have? In my mind, it's what the Iliad, right? It's about war and love, right? The story of going over and fighting at Troy. Well, the second oldest story is the Odyssey, when the guy comes home. Well, the siren song, the Otis leaves. That's all telling you don't do drugs.
But
I
again,
guess you got to hear it. I hear that when they talk about those things. I see the fact that it's an analogy for drug use.
yeah.
But maybe
And
and other people don't. But
you might
it's
be
not
right.
just government telling you, kids. You know, if any kids, what kids listen to, you know,
They
watch
might,
this. Well, you know,
yeah.
it's not just the government telling you. It's, you know, literature from way back. It's, you know, your parents, hopefully. It's, you know, but that person who's gonna die of a heroin overdose, they didn't do that first, whatever drug it was,
Right.
thinking, yeah, I'm gonna get, you know, I'm working up to.
One
They
of the
didn't tell
things-
themselves, I'm working up to doing heroin.
One of the things,
just-
though, that we're seeing, though, also is the prescription drug. And that leads into some of the opiates as well. And that's, you know, obviously, any type of abuse, whether it's alcohol, whether it's prescription drugs, pot, whatever, if people are doing that to dope out because of maybe something traumatic in their lives, or they would just wanted to experiment, whatever the reason,
Right.
curiosity, oh, don't tell me, you know, they go through the rebellious phase, whatever, something in their system says, hey, I want this,
Right.
you know, and then they just kind of get very myopic in their.
Which is why we tell them that's illegal.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Right, exactly.
Because
But somewhere
it's gonna
that
feel,
reason
it's gonna
ends.
feel woo.
Yeah, for a little while, and then
Yeah, and then you're gonna go.
then you're gonna
That's
crash.
why you have to.
So you're gonna run again?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Good.
I'm having a good time doing it, and it's a challenge,
I'm-
as always. So it makes every day a great day.
This was a quick show, so I really appreciate you coming
Oh,
on, and
quite
we'll
welcome.
have you on again if you get the time.
Yeah. Oh, I enjoy it. And it's kind of my job to get the message out.
Great.
That's part of what I love.
Well, thanks for watching Gate City Chronicles, and if you know somebody that's incorrigible and they need some help, please contact us or contact the courts, and maybe we can get them help. It is an epidemic. We need to address it, and hopefully this is a way that we can address it as well. But until next week, thanks for watching Gate City Chronicles. We'll see you. Thank you for watching Gate City Chronicles, and we want to thank our sponsor, Aardvark Cleaning. They've been a sponsor for quite a few years now, and we appreciate them being a sponsor. And if you want to be a guest on our show, contact accessnashua@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your story. Until next week, thanks for watching.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.